The first set of proposed changes to the MMP voting system will be made public this morning. About 4,700 submissions were made to the MMP review, which was triggered by the referendum held at last year's general election. Here's political reporter Chris Bramwell.
The review looked at various aspects of the MMP system, including the 5% party vote threshold and the so-called coattailing provision, which has in the past allowed ACT and United Future to bring more MPs into Parliament after their leaders won an electorate seat and more than 1.2% of the party vote. The Green Party's electoral reform spokesperson Holly Walker says the 5% party vote threshold should be lowered to 4%. She says that would result in fewer wasted votes.
When we're looking at changes to the electoral system, we should be guided by some principles such as fairness and proportionality. And when you've got significant proportions of the population casting votes for particular parties, and then those parties not ending up represented in Parliament, then effectively those people's votes, you could say that they're wasted and that the party that they have voted for doesn't end up being represented in Parliament.
But the United Future Party, which is represented in Parliament by Peter Dunn, wants the threshold lowered to 3%. Its party president, Robin Gunston, explains why.
We've looked at other countries in the world that have representative systems like MMP, and we feel that to get as full a representative parliament as possible, representing the aspirations and wishes of people across New Zealand, we need to attract perhaps a broader representation of parties.
Some submissions to the MMP review stated that reducing the threshold could lead to more complex governing arrangements, with more small parties entering Parliament. The Labour Party MP Leanne Dalzell says she doesn't think that would be the case.
The Royal Commission actually recommended that it be 4% in the first place. The coattails provision was kind of a bit of a trade-off back then, and I think it was the Royal Commission recommendation, and I think people generally would be happy to see that change.
Holly Walker says the one electorate seat or coattailing threshold should be removed.
There's no reason why the party votes of those people who happen to vote for a party that has an electorate seat should be worth more than those of people who vote for a party that doesn't have one. And what we've seen is some very complex governing arrangements with smaller parties who've brought people in with them off that one seat threshold.
With its single electorate MP, it's not too surprising that United Future wants to keep that threshold. Robin Gunston says it should stay even if the party vote threshold is lowered.
That still represents a number of people putting in their vote for a particular person. Sometimes that person might only be the only representative of that party in the government, but it's still the wishes of the people for that to occur. So we think that option should still be there.
Wellington lawyer and former Vote for Change spokesperson Jordan Williams says politicians will end up voting for whatever suits their party.
For example, if the National Party want Colin Craig's Conservative to get in, they may vote in Parliament to reduce the MMP threshold to 4%, with the theory that they'll need Colin Craig to form the next government. Likewise, you'd expect the other politicians to only vote for proposals that will work in their favour.
The public will have until September the 7th to make submissions on the proposal paper, with the final report going to the Justice Minister at the end of October. From Parliament for Morning Report, Chris Bramwell.